Hello, hello. Shoshona, where are you from? Joining us.
Done.
Israel. Hey, wonderful.
Yeah, from Israel. Hi.
Wow. Do you know that? Oh, long time ago, probably 21 years ago or so, Slim sent a big wash tub to Israel to one of the associates we had there.
That's very interesting. Where did he send it to? Do you remember?
Um, I don't remember now. I want
Oh,
to
I
say,
would love
wasn't
to
it?
know where there is one.
It's a long time ago, and we lost contact with the person. But at the time, he was very appreciative of having it. And it happens very often that we donate tools to people, and then we don't hear again. So, but it was really he thought that it made a difference having it there.
Do you remember what he was using it for?
What all the harmonizers are used for creating harmony and creating more um, peace in the area.
Yeah, let's hope more of that happens.
Yeah. Okay. We have 8 participants right now and over 230 registered. And we were like, oh my God, should we extend our we only have 100 um, lights available. And so anyway, I think usually once we are starting, hello, let us know where you're calling in from.
Hi, I'm calling from Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, hey,
Yeah, yes.
beautiful. My friend Joel was in Costa Rica to the Bliss event.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm actually Canadian. I'm from Alberta, but we're parked in Costa Rica.
Wonderful. I have been to Alberta with Slim. He was um, he was speaking in Calgary at the Dowsers Convention, and then we were going over. We made it all the way to Banff.
Oh,
And
it's beautiful there.
yeah, it is really beautiful. So thank you for joining us. I've been to Costa Rica a couple of times some years ago. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we love it.
Yes. Okay, let's get started. All about the light lift tools. Who knows about the light lift tools already? Who has some? Who is
I have a
completely
few.
new? You have a few?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So then I just, as you know, Slim started with the first ring, the sacred cubit ring, and he had 3 sizes. Those three, wait a moment, I got something else so you can see them better. And a very large one. The large one is about that diameter, and you can actually pull it over your head. And so that were the rings that Slim created first. And I have a picture here I would like to show you so you get an idea what the field of the harmonizer is. Oops, wait a moment. I'll show you many things now. This is like when we the harmonizer, not the ring. I mean, so the rings have like what we call the stillness or the 0 point energy field inside them. Oh, thank you. And so, and some of the rings have beads, and the beads are amplifier because Tesla said spheres are amplifying a field. And so that works, thank you. And so this is why we added beads to the rings. And there are some rings that have thicker wire, a heavier wire, like this one, and that doesn't have any beads. Because the heavier the wire, the denser the field is. So just to explain, and there is like the yellow that you see is basically what clairvoyants can see as the column of light that goes in both directions. So when I'm holding a ring, then basically I hold it and you are benefiting and everything behind me is also benefiting. And how we know that the ring seemed to go out indefinitely was when, and Ken just brought me the last ring, so I can fully show it. But you see, this is the large ring, so it's quite large. And people have been using that for, this I think is, yeah, for diverting tornadoes and hail clouds. And Slim had his home where he was making the tools in Golden, Colorado. And his friend, a scientist, had his laboratory in the mountains. Hey, okay, John, thank you. You made that yourself, huh? Yeah, I can tell. Uh, so anyway, so from Slim's garden to the laboratory was about 10 miles, 16-kilometer distance. And above the laboratory was a cloud. And so his friend, a very gifted scientist, created a molecular scanner where he could actually record the frequency of the cloud. And so when Slim was pointing his ring into the cloud, which was 10 miles, 16 kilometers away, his friend could record the frequency that was generated through the ring. And this is what you get on the empowerment qubit, on the empowerment, on the environmental clearing CD. That's the frequency that you find there. And so this is what, when you have an environmental harmonizer up, you're getting the environmental clearing frequency with it. And in the beginning, when they started, obviously there was no sign of CDs, there were only tapes. And so the frequency is a recording of about 10 minutes. And on the CDs, depending if you have a smaller one or a larger one, we just keep looping the frequency. So you have the most benefit from it. And excuse me. So this is why we know the ring seemed to really go out indefinitely. And so what are we using the rings for? Well, if you're like, okay, which ring can I, which ring should I get? And I'm like, there is no size fits all, you know. If it always depends what you want to do with it. Like when I'm working a lot on the computer, the half sacred qubit ring is on my left arm, because this, when we are spending a lot of time on the computer, our red blood cells have a tendency to agglutinate. And what that means simply is that they stick together. And they are responsible for the oxygen transportation into our body, into our heart, into our brain. And if they are agglutinated, we get tired, we don't have the energy that we want to have. Like if we want to hike, if we want to work out, we don't have enough energy. Or if we work a lot on the computer, then we are drained at night. If you are wearing the ring, that can help you reduce the effects of being so tired, because your red blood cells keep flowing. And then that means that you have still more energy after having had to work a day on the computer. Now, this size is the next size of the sacred qubit. That is what I'm sitting on when I go to Europe. When I'm on the plane, I sit on a ring. And so this just helps me to stay energized and not get drained. I also have a set of harmonizers with me to help with the EMF that are really strong on the planes. And when I do healing sessions, I use the other measurement together with the sacred qubit, and this is our loss qubit. So if you see if you are following us on Instagram, you will see pictures of sessions, and that is the combination, the sacred cubit and the lost cubit. And why would I do that? The sacred cubit seems to work more on the physical, and the lost cubit seems to work more on the mental emotional. So when we have anything going on, discomfort in our body, what was first, the mental or the physical? And so, you know, like chicken and hen thing. So this is why I want to cover everything together. And this is why I'm using this combination. So, and I do a layout over the chakras going down, and then depending, I put one of those on each of the feet. Depending if people have shoulder problems, or I just use the rings as I'm guided to do so. I have my favorite story of the half sacred cubit ring. Slim was telling me that he had many people who had heart issues, that when they put one of those in their shirt pocket over their heart, the heart would improve significantly. And I had an opportunity to find out about that myself. I was in March 2020, I was at a conference, and the instructor told us that he had 2 weeks ago open heart surgery. And I'm like, oh my God, and you're teaching now? Yeah, sure. You know, I just do that. So anyway, I gave him a ring, he put it in his shirt pocket. And then later he was like, hey, this stuff works. And I thought, oh, he's making fun of me, you know? And then he told me that usually he has to use his defibrillator more several times during the day. And since he had the ring in his pocket, he didn't have to do it all day. And then I asked him, you know, if he would write me a testimonial. And then what I didn't even know was that he was writing, he had heart problems for over 30 years. And his cardiologist said, well, there's nothing we can do. You just have to use your defibrillator, have it close by that you can use it when you need it. And he said, I have no idea how those rings work, but they do work. Since I'm using it, I don't have to use the defibrillator anymore. And when I saw him on a Zoom call like that in 2023, December 2023, I asked him, I said, hey, how is your heart doing? And he said, my heart is healed. My heart is completely healed. And just imagine that with a little ring like that. And of course, disclaimer right away, there's no, guarantee that it always works, but is it not worth a try? If I have heart issues, sometimes my heart goes faster than I want, and I put it in my bra, and it helps me to calm it down. So, and this is what I'm telling friends. I mean, what do you have to lose? You know, I mean, it can all be help or not, but it cannot harm you. And that is the main thing to, remember. You just got to use them. You just got to use them. And I mean, this ring, people have been putting, like I had a gentleman who was complaining about having back pain forever. I recommended he put it in his belt where the back pain is. He put it there. 2 years later, I saw him at the same conference that is every 2 years. And he said, my back pain is gone. I always have the ring. And he put the shirt up so he could show me that he has the ring still in his belt. You know, so there are many fun stories about just this little ring. And of course, you can energize your water with them. You can place them. The bookkeeper that is working again with me, I gave her for, I think probably 23 years ago or so, I gave her one of our rings. And when I saw her again last year, she said, you know, I still use your ring all the time. If something hurts on my body, I put it there, and next thing you know, it's gone. And I'm like, really? You never told me that. So it's a lot of fun to just this one little ring, what it can do for you, you know. And this one, I gave several rings and a coil and a harmonizer to two classes of a school in California, and special ed children. I know there's now a more politically correct name for it, but I don't know it. So anyway, there are autistic children, and there were mentally challenged kids, and they were called the classes of hell. They were in the basement. People were crying all the time. No one had a friend in there. And sometimes they did not even have space enough for out time, on the floor or wherever. And when I said, if you send me a report, I'm going to send you rings and coils so that you can work with the kids. And so the kids were calling this ring the crown. So when they notice they get agitated, they put it on. Or when all of a sudden they were starting to take care about the other kids. And when they noticed, hey, this kid next to me, and they would just say, hey, you need the crown. Or one time they said to the teacher, I think you need the crown, So they were going to use it on a daily basis, and the class improved so much within 30 days. I said, hey, I haven't heard a report from you. She sent me weekly reports. And then she said, Katarina, there is nothing to report anymore. The class couldn't be any better. They are friends. They have been improving their skills. They are just, unbelievable. Just with a ring, just with a few tools, how we can make a difference. And this is why I want to get the tools out, because it's also non-invasive and a kid can use it. So you don't need to have a science degree to know how to use them or how they work. They just work, and that's it. But if you don't use them, they won't. Very simple. Very simple. So the one sacred cubit has a frequency of 144. The one lost cubit has a frequency of 177. Now the empowerment cubit, and this one is 20.6 inches. This one is 23.49.1 inches, and this was found by Hans Becker, a friend of ours, a mathematician, a genius, who said at the time when he talked to Slim, he said, this is the most amazing electrical circuit I have ever seen in my life. And so, but he was like 19 cubit measurements were available at the time. And he said, that doesn't make sense. 19 is not a number. There's something missing. It got to be 20 or even 24, but not 19. And so he started calculating, and in one of the books, and maybe on the website, is how he came up with this calculation. It's way above my head to remember, but we have it written down. And so anyway, so this, and what we call it sometimes the lost cubit or the backup cubit, because what it seems to be doing is really helping us with rejuvenation, with staying us being focused. If you can put it over your head if you need more mental focus, if you just feel like, hey, I cannot concentrate. And and so some people have been, like, we had a healer and she said the sky is the limit. She does do energy work, and she has been using going in the akasha. She was going with her hands through it. Some people had time changes and all kinds of things going on. And so, so this is a pretty powerful tool. And later we got the measurement for the empowerment cubit thing. And I gotta tell you, some people are using my name because I coined the name empowerment cubit thing. Because when I had first made a few, I sent it out to some research associates, and a couple of them, they have been doing telepathic communication for a long time. And when they were using the rings, and I don't know if they were putting them over their head or if they were holding them in front of them, but they were reporting that they had the telepathic communication were more instant, and the information was much clearer. And then I got other reports, and this is why I called it the empowerment cubit, but because people are counterfeiting, and then they call them light life rings. And so this is why I didn't give out the measurement. So if you find a measurement on the internet about the empowerment qubit, you can guarantee it's not ours because our measurement is not out there. And, there are many tensor rings out there. And so unfortunately, not all are working the same. And so, and I'm not saying that because I want you to only get mine, because I totally thought that everyone gets what their energy is aligned to. But we are embedding special healing frequencies, and, and there's an integrity in making those. And so that's just why I want to point out, not every tensoring is a light life tensoring, and not every tensoring works the same. So now we have the heavier wire, and this one is also comes in all three sizes. And the heavier rings, what we found, wait a moment. So when you use them together and you can combine them, that you have a space between them, so like there are those plastic cables where you connect wires. So this is what you want to do. You want to make sure that they have a space between them. And I have reports from people that had chronic pain, and when they used this combination on the area, it helped them to decrease the pain, inflammation significantly. So that's a good thing to do when you are a healer, when you are working with people, or for yourself. The lost qubit, this is also called the manifestation qubit thing, because what it's been helping people to manifest what they wanted in their life. Now, obviously, you don't need a ring to manifest. What the rings can help us, and also they seem to enhance the scalar energy that is all around, and it's not the same on every place. And so what actually Dr. Hans Müller from Germany was telling us, that the rings are totally in alignment with the scalar waves, or the scalar energy. And yeah, he created the global scaling work. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And anyway, so this can totally support your manifestation. And if you use a ring or not, you always want to be very specific. Like one of our clients, she lost her car was stolen in Houston, Texas. And someone is from Houston, Margaret. I don't see you, but here. Anyway, so if you don't have your video on, I cannot see you. And obviously, if you want to be unseen, then that's okay too. But then I cannot talk to you. And so, oh my God, I just see that Ines is from the Netherlands. Wow. That's amazing. So she got her car stolen in Houston, Texas. And Houston, for those of you who haven't been there, is huge. It's a big city. And but she had the ring in her shoulder bag. And so she took it out. She remembered from the seminar, used the ring to manifest. And what happened was that she said, I want my car to be found before midnight today. And 2 or 3 weeks later, she got her car back. So she was smart enough to ask when the car was actually found. And the car was found before midnight the day it was stolen, but the person who was putting the number plate in made an error in mixing up 2 numbers, and this is why it took her so long to get it. Okay, so this is why you want to be very specific. Or I heard from another case, she manifested a red sports car and, European sports car, and she lived in California and she got the sports car, but she forgot to put in her desire that it should be automatic, and sports car like to have a shift, and so she didn't know how to drive a shift car. So anyway, with or without ring, you can you want to make sure that you are very specific in manifesting. And I forgot to mention something, because sometimes people are complaining about Zoom that they see everybody and not just the person speaking. So if you look up on your screen, it says view, and if you click on view, then you can say gallery, which I have, so that I can see all of you who have your video on. Thank you, Margaret, for putting your video on. Nice to see you. And if you just want to see me or whoever is speaking, then you just change to speaker, or when more people are speaking, then you change it to multi-speaker. So if you don't want to see everyone, then just click on speaker on the top. If you want to see if two people are speaking, then you click on multi-speaker. So you don't have to see everybody if you don't want to. So it's all your choice. Alrighty, so wait a moment. Yeah, I want to show you something that are you all familiar with Emoto, Masaru Emoto and his crystal pictures? Well, I actually had pictures done from Emoto, and wait a moment, maybe I can find them first. Let me just do some looking here. Okay. I saw it earlier, but that is the presentation effect. Moment. I have got. Okay. Alright. Okay, so let me share. Wait a moment. I don't see the emoji now. Okay, then I just show you this one, which is fine. The emoji picture just showed what tap water looks like, and tap water just looks like fuzzy, like you see in the very corner. So tap water doesn't have any crystals whatsoever. It's really just some nasty bubbles. Nothing nice, nothing exciting. So what you see here is the combination of the sacred cubit ring, and then we hook an aqua coil and a feedback loop on it. This is our practitioner set, and this is and in all four cases, a glass water was in each configuration for 4 hours. And then the vials were sent to a lab in Switzerland who does the same work as the Emoto lab in other places in the world. And this one was done with our empowerment cubit ring. This is the empowerment cubit ring that has 7 beads. And this one is done with our one lost cubit ring that has 3 beads. And what's significant about those pictures is that usually and Mr. Water from Germany was providing those pictures for us. He has over 25 years of research done with water. And he was truly excited about our tools, and he also incorporated one of our acupressure tools in one of his energizing tools. And so she said usually it takes about 2 to 3 days, and the vials go by mail to the lab in Switzerland. And this time he said the samples, the vials, were in the mail for 2 weeks. And so this, because sometimes people say, how long does it last to have the energy of the ring in the water? And so you see, after 2 weeks, we still have those beautiful crystal pictures, so it's really amazing what is happening with uh, the energizing of water. And of course, you can energize your food and okay. Okay. And so what we also heard, we got a report out of a lab in Canada, and the person was saying that he used, and I say he because I don't, sometimes with the names in the States or in English, you don't know is it a man or a woman. So anyway, I said just he had plain chain ring in a lab, and he put it over a sample of E. coli, and usually E. coli spread like crazy when they are out in the air. And he said putting the ring over the petri dish, it stopped the growth of the E. coli. So I think if we are thinking about what the rings are doing to water, and if we are considering that our body is to, depending whose literature you are following, 70 to 80% water, then we can understand why the rings have such an important healing effect on people. And this ring, for example, and I wasn't there, obviously, but Slim was in South Africa in 2000 and did a workshop there. And one of the participants had a friend who basically was given up by the doctors because she had a liver tumor and a brain tumor, and they couldn't help her anymore. And he was just guided, say, hey, what do you have to lose apart from your tumors? And so she put one on the head, and I don't know if the tumor was exactly here. The other one she puts over her liver, and then she took one of the large rings that I just here before. And again, I wasn't there, but she was going up and down several times during the day. And it took 6 weeks for both tumors to be completely gone. And so again, there's no guarantee that this can happen all the time, because I think we all know that there is a reason why we have certain diseases. And but again, what is it? Is it not worse to try whatever we can, especially when we cannot harm, And this is also important to understand. Whatever tools you have and whatever you are using and what you are hearing, the tools are here to support us. They are supporting us, our growth. They don't do the work for us, So if you are, and you don't have to believe in them either, So it is just to be open that whatever is supposed to help you, that it's there for you. And if you are if you are not open to making the changes that the tools might point out to you by showing you, hey, that's something you would be good to change to get better. And if you are not open to that, then the tools won't interfere with you. They won't force you in getting better, So they are not here to override your free will. And I think one of the things that we were given by God, or the authorities, you ever want to call it, was that we have free will. And so the tools are not overriding our free will. They are supporting us. They are here for us to be used, and but they are not doing the work for us, and they don't interfere with our higher plan and our higher picture, or whatever plan there is for us. So just know that. Oh, in 2008, where was it? You were in Tokyo, Kurum? Do you say your name Kurum?
Yeah, I was documenting a water documentary in Arabic. So we flew from Jordan to Tokyo to Germany,
Oh, wow.
testing water and how holy water heals people and stuff like that. But it was all in Arabic. But I had
Okay.
already seen the documentary on Masaru Emoto before I left, so I already knew about him and stuff. But it
Oh,
was
great.
interesting.
Actually, Slim and I were at a water conference in Minnesota in 2005, and we had a short meeting with Dr. Emoto and his wife. And, we were laughing because his first book, nobody wanted to publish because they said, who wants to learn about your work? And so his wife published his first book, and I was self-publishing Slim's first book, so and we gave them some tools, but we, they were busy and we were busy. But yeah, so it's fun. It's awesome. Alrighty, thank you for sharing that. Any dental healing testimonials? We have had people putting a ring over their head for. We have people using the coil, and one person I remember, and there might have been more, but one testimonial that comes to mind. She was having super potentized water is made when you took the ring and then you put the practitioner set like an aqua coil and a feedback loop, and you place water in there, and you let it sit. The longer you let the water sit, the more potentized, the more stronger, the more hexagonal structure it has. And so she was sipping that water, and I think she even took a sip or kept it in her mouth and put the personal harmonizer towards she had a infection on her tooth. And so this is how she was driving basically to the dentist. And by the time she was at the dentist, the whole infection was gone, and she saved her tooth. So I think I would probably use the coil when I have dental issues. And I have been using the coil. I had some dental problems, teeth problems, so using the coil. And depending what it is, either putting the coil, I don't have one here right now. We see, no? But the coil has a bead, and the bead away from the area is pulling out like an infection. And if you want to put healing energy towards it, then you point the bead towards the area. And this is how I would see which way, whatever the issue is, how you can help you with that, So
If you follow the traditional Chinese medicine, would you follow where if it's like this tooth and it follows it to the organ, would you start healing the organ too with it? Because if you do it here, then you should go follow the organ too, no?
I think that would probably be a good idea to do. I would definitely look into that. Yeah, I still have one tooth that I've been working with, and it's not as loose as it was, so it's still a little coming and going. And I thought, okay, I gotta look which organ is actually connected to the tooth, because the dentist wanted to remove all my teeth, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you gotta be kidding me, I'm too young for that, so I don't have them do that. So, but yeah, if you have the chart and a link to the chart, then put it in the chat, and then we all can benefit from it. That would be great. I would really appreciate that. Would save me the time to find it. I'm a very practical person. Okay, let's see. Yeah. When you have one of our harmonizers, then you get a ring with that. And it depends which size of harmonizer you have. That depends on the size of the ring you have. And some ring might have one bead, one or three, it doesn't matter. You use the ring to over the harmonizer to recharge the harmonizer, to clean the harmonizer. And when Slim when Slim was still around over 17 years ago, then it wasn't necessary. But from where he is now, years ago, he said, make sure people put the harmonizer in the ring every now and then, because they intentionally put so much debris in the atmosphere that we want to make sure that the harmonizers are always clean. And if you are living in an area where you have hurricanes or tornadoes or a lot of pollution, then do it before you get a hurricane warning or before you get a tornado warning, that the harmonizer are fresh and ready to help you when you need it. And the other way we are using the ring with a harmonizer is when we have an area that we want to protect, like we wanted to help the people in on the Hawaiian Islands when they had all those hurricane warnings. So we sent an email out and we included a map to download where you could put your ring over the map of the Hawaiian Islands, and then you put your harmonizer in there, and then you put your intention in there and put the CD under the harmonizer to really protect that the tornadoes are diverted. And so far, apart from Lanai, that was a different story. But when we get early enough warnings, and and of course, I'm not arrogant to say only we are making a difference. I think the combination of prayers and other intentions definitely help with whatever is going on the planet. And we also do our part. And that is important, that we always do whatever we can and not wait for someone else to do it for us, because this is, I think, at least that's how I operate. I feel when I can help, then I will. And if I cannot, then obviously I won't. But if we have the means to help, then I think that's what we are here to do. And no judgment. If someone has a different opinion, then it's all okay with me. This is just what I'm sharing, how I feel that this is what we want to use for. Now, okay. So when you have, who is working with children, with people, if you have an office, if you have a practice where you're working with, where you have clients, even there's a disclaimer, the tools are not here to diagnose, cure, and whatnot. But at the same time, people who are working with people, when they are using the ring to do an aura shower before they start working with the person, when the ring stops in an area, it feels like you can go down and all of a sudden, oops, it wants to stay here for a while. Okay, that means on this area is something going on. And it could be that there is an old injury, and it could be that there is something going on at the moment. And for those of you that are not everyone can do that, but if you are very sensitive, you can really feel it. And what's also, if you take especially this ring that is very light, and you go down on the person, and all of a sudden the ring does that, that means that there's an entity, or can mean, maybe there are others, but what we found is that there's an entity in the person. Now, I was talking about entities one time, and someone got really offended. And I just want to tell you that it's really easy for us to get an entity. And I want to share a personal story. I had and it's probably 14 years ago now or something. I had a colonoscopy done, and the doctor removed some polyps and didn't do a good job. She apparently was known for being a little floppy or something. And so long story short, I got internal bleedings, and the hospital didn't return my calls. And so finally I thought, that doesn't look good. And I called another hospital and they were like, oh my God, can you still drive or do you want us to pick you up? And so it was really kind of, well, I don't know, maybe that was it. So I got my will out, sent an email to my employees and say, hey, I don't know what's going on, but just in case, please take care of my dog, and here's my will. And then I drove myself to the hospital, and then they had to take me to the other hospital, and I had to tell them what to do because I lost a lot of blood. And so the next day, and obviously the first time I went there to have my colonoscopy, I was protecting myself, with white light and angels and whatever we are doing when we have a surgery or when we put under that we know, we are protected. And at that time, I was definitely too weak to even think about that because it was basically saving my life by telling them, hey, I think I probably need blood infusion because I lost a lot of blood. And anyway, and when then I had another colonoscopy, and then the doctor that fixed it, said, hey, yeah. So anyway, when I got home, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I'm not alone at home anymore. And so this is why I'm saying it's easy to, if we are in a situation like that we get entities, or if we are around people who are just doing a lot of drugs or a lot of alcohol, where our aura gets holds basically, and this is where we can attract entities. And the good thing is there are ways and means to get rid of them. And so I just want to tell you that when this happens, then it's just something to either send the person to someone or work with them to release the entities that are in the body and don't belong there. So I just want to make sure that this is something to work with. So, okay. Okay, good. Now, what can, again, what happens with the aura shower, and I want to share another story, but I went to a conference, and we wrote a little article in the magazine they handed out, and and just sharing what the tools can do. And we had a booth, and we had people, when they came, we would give them an aura shower, and and so that just to clean their energy field. And I remember there was a woman sitting diagonal from us, and so I could tell that she was very interested in what we are doing. And after the people, it calmed down a little and we were alone, she came over to me and she said, wow, when I read in the magazine what you were saying, I thought, oh my God, a lot of bullshit, And she said, but I can read the energy, I can see the aura. And I was amazed what happened when you actually put the ring over those people, how the field got really clear. And so this is why we don't need to see it. It still can have a positive effect. And this is what the tools are here for, to bring more light and bring more health and happiness to wherever we are. So again, it really depends what you want to use them for. This is how you decide which size you want. And I have, like this one, I have a gas stove. I have them all over my burners. I have them in a different size, like this one over my cat food. I have one over my water kettle, over my filter. I have the large one on my on my fridge, and one time I had milk in there because I wanted to make a dessert for a party, and I didn't get to it, and I don't drink milk. So months later, there was another occasion, and I thought, oh, I still have the milk, and so I thought, oh, I open it, throw it out, and it's tasted just like it was bought yesterday, you know. So the rings can really help to keep the produce longer fresh, to have anything in your fridge, in your cabinet. I have them because they're going in both directions. So what I have on my counter, I place them so that they also take care of what I have in my wall cabinets or what I have under them. So this is why you want to be practical, you know. If you have a larger area, you get a larger ring, and you can shape them, you know. If it's around is not optimal, you can make them a little more oval. If they change the size, that doesn't matter. When you sit on them, of course, they change a little, but so what? As long as they're not broken, they are working. Okay, so, and yes, the rings get dark. The copper, if it's a copper ring, they get dark over time. And I remember we were on a trip and visited Jean, who was married to Slim at the time he created the rings. And she had one of the first rings on her mirror. And when I was in her bathroom, I thought, oh my God, you know, it's totally black. And so I said to her, hey, Jean, would you like a new ring? And she said, Katarina, why? They're still working, you know. And Jean was very intuitive, and she could see the energies and everything. And so she said, yeah, no, well, if you give me a new one, they get dark in a few years also. So I keep what I have, you know. So just that, you know, they keep working. You can pass them on to generations. If the gold is gone, so what? They're still working. And they are working because of the measurement, because of the way the wire is twisted, and the frequencies we are putting in there. So this is like every light life tool is a heirloom. You can pass it on to your children and to your grandchildren. And it's amazing what we have here. So I just want to encourage you to use it. Or if you live in the States, we have the one plain chain lost cubit ring that fits our smart meters. So smart meters, I had a friend in Longmont who Longmont decided in July every house gets a smart meter, and she is very intuitive. And so she said, you know, the energy in my house was a 10 before they put the smart meter on, now it's down to a 3. And so I brought a ring over, and we put it, the smart meter is placed on the outside of the house, and she was concerned the kids will take the ring. So we went inside, it was on her garage, and we placed it directly where the smart meter was, and the energy in the house went up again. You know, so the rings are, because of the twisting and the 0-point energy field they are creating, they are neutralizing the magnetic field so that the electricity can still flow, and the electricians can still do the long distance readings, but the magnetic field, the combination that is harmful to people is, or can be harmful, is what is neutralized. Any questions? You know, Sophie's, where are you? I don't see you. Okay, so unseen Sophie. Ring under the bed has been helping people with getting better sleep. You can also put, if you have a headboard, you can put the ring in the headboard so you're sleeping in a light tunnel. Some people say the energy was too much. They couldn't get to sleep, but they still felt fresh and energized in the morning, even they didn't have the sleep they usually have or think they should have without the ring. So I would highly recommend to try. And if it doesn't, if it helps you with sleep, then keep it there. Otherwise, place it somewhere else on the head or on the feet and see how that makes a difference. And sometimes with the tools, you have to be patient and wait a few days and experiment a little with it. So if you're working during the week, maybe you start on Friday night and see how it works over the weekend. And if you notice you have to put it somewhere else, then put it somewhere else. Any other questions? No, this coloration has no effect on the benefits. No. Good. Alrighty.
A question. I'm curious, what size was that ring that you held up that you recommended for the smart meters?
The smart meter is the one lost cubit plane chain, and the item number is 232 P. Wait a moment, I put it in here, then you have it. 232 plane chain. And that's really a friend of mine. She has 6 children, and I don't know how many grandchildren, and she got them for all of them. And she is psychic, and she could see the difference it's making. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, are there any more questions?
I have a daughter that is a school teacher.
Uh-huh.
What would you recommend in the classroom? Like a combination of different? That's
what
kind
is
of a classroom filled with the kids that nobody else wants.
Oh,
Come from
okay.
bad places. Yeah, she's got challenging children.
Okay, I think I would get a harmonizer. I would get an environmental silver-bladed harmonizer, because the silver-bladed, when it comes to the harmonizer, the silver-bladed seems to work best for unseen things like electromagnetic fields, emotion, mental disturbances, while the gold-plated one seems to work best for plant growth, for air pollution, for tornadoes and stuff. And they still complement each other, so it's not so that this works only for that. And so don't think because you have a gold-plated one, it doesn't work for the others. But we just found if you have a choice, and if you want to get one, then in this case, I would go with environmental harmonizer silver-plated. And she could also, if she has an aqua coil, and do you think Ken could just bring me a lost cubit aqua coil, Tracy? Give me a second, then I get one. Well, eyesight improvement, you could try the eye mask. Whoever was that, I don't see you. But you can put around the filter of the Berkey water. Oh, great, thank you. So this is the aqua coil, and for the students, I would put it on the desk that the bead shows to her, and the distance, when it pulls in negativity, it goes from here to here, and then it converts it into light energy coming out this way. So if I would be concerned about you guys not being friendly, I would hold it and pull out anything that is negative. But if I want to give energy to everyone, then I would put the bead towards you. So, and we have it in different sizes, for her. I mean, of course, there's a price difference, and you got to look at the budget. But the sacred cubit is what Slim always had in his pocket. It's lighter and it has the bead inside, but the concept is the same. You want to have the yes, a harmonizer can help a whole house and a whole neighborhood, actually. So the field of the harmonizer, and the harmonizers come, the environmental and up, they come with CDs. And so when you want to increase the field, you cannot have it in the ring. So you take it out of the ring, you activate it with the CD, and the field goes out quite a bit. It depends whatever is going on in the neighborhood. If you're living in the city and there's a lot of wireless technology, it might not go out as much as when you live where we are still very rural. Even they stuff subdivisions around us that there's no tomorrow. In the last few years, I think several thousand houses were built here, but still, it gets out and it can help a neighborhood. So definitely do that. Yeah, I would work with the depending what the eye situation is. I would work with the eye mask, and maybe also drinking super potentized water, getting the practitioner set. And there are so many applications for the practitioner set that it's a really amazing combination. And stainless steel doesn't matter, because if you think that the rings go through walls, through metal stuff, then stainless steel doesn't matter at all. And the orientation, someone was asking about the orientation of the beads. Slim said he wasn't a bead tweaker, he didn't really care so much about how the beads are. And if I do a session and I have like this combination on someone's body, then you will notice, I mean, right now they might look like that, or I might have the beads going a little bit and the person breathes, and then the beads move. So don't worry about that. If you are having like, if you get one of the heavy rings, like one of those with the handmade beads, and you have them on the floor, then you can orient the beads so that they are in a pattern where you feel best sitting in there for meditation. But usually we don't really worry about the beads too much. When I use the combination for the practitioner set, I have the 3 beads together, and then I have in like 120 degrees, I have the aqua coil with the bead away from the center, and then I have the feedback loop tucked in. And then put a jar of water in there for super potentizing it. Or you can also, when you have a heavier size ring, then you don't need the coil and the feedback loop, and you can put the configuration in there, because the tensor field is so strong that it has also super potentizing effect. Any more questions? Wait a moment, there are 2 new messages. Okay. If you have more questions, and those of you who are from Europe, then Light Life Technology, Light Life Tools Europe.com would be the website for you. And oops, wait a moment, that went now directly to Jacob and not everyone. Let me copy that. Okay, so this is the website if you're in Europe. And yeah, I feel blessed to be able to do what I can do, and I couldn't do it without my amazing team. And I'm very grateful for all the people working for me and making this place a better place to live for all of us. It's crazy times, and so the more harmonizer we have, with the intention to bring more peace and love on to this planet and to the world, then we are getting it done. Together is what we have to work on, or what we get to work on, and that's the fun part. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for joining us today, and keep well and keep us posted if you have any questions. Much love and blessings to you all. Thank you.